So this is a free tool which you can use, okay, to draw your entity relationship diagram, but there are also some software you can download and try using that. So when you talk about entity is represented by a rectangle. Okay, let's check it. So when you design ER diagram, it's kind of diagram that represents a relationship between your entities. Okay, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, so the entities are represented by a rectangle. Correct. Let me talk about. I'm talking about employee entities. Okay, so this is an employee entity for me. You can just make it less smaller. So this is an employee. Okay, this is the entity for me. It could have different attributes. Correct. When you talk about attributes, means what are the property it have. It could have the name. Correct.
Yeah.
It could have name. So the properties or attributes of entity are represented by eclipse symbol. So let me make some eclipse symbol. Okay. So what we can see imply could have name. Correct.
Yeah.
It could have address. Okay. So these are two attributes of employee. So these are known as attributes. So we need to join them with a line. So this is joined like this. Okay. Let me drag it here. Okay. Okay. So this is an employee. It has two attributes. It could have multiple attributes like name. It could have different attributes. Okay. I don't need to see that. Okay. Okay. So these are known as attribute. It could have ID field. Let me draw that as well. When we talk about ID field, it is a primary key for all me. Correct? When we create ID, it is mostly the primary key. So it could be represented by the underline. Okay.
Okay.
And anything that is underlined, that is known as strong attribute, because this is my primary key. So that is known as strong attribute.
Okay.
Okay. So here we can see, just a second, it is doing something. Okay. So what here is implies my entity, and I have different attributes available with me: the name, address, ID. And when you talk about attributes, the ID is a strong attribute because it can uniquely identify all the records or a record from an employee. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And there is a concept of, you can say, multi-valued attribute. Let's take about address. Okay.
Yeah.
So address could have different things associated with it. Correct? Like your zip code, your first line address, second line address, third line. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just check the lines. So we can just connect address with this line. Can connect this with this. We can connect. Okay. So we can make it address line 1, because it could have, address could have multiple lines. Correct?
Yeah.
Address line 2. Okay. And we could have a zip code available. Correct?
Yeah.
State zip, or anything. It could have multiple things like country. We can also create one more attribute for your country, then state, or anything. Correct? For phone number, anything. Because employee could have different attributes. Correct? Employee could have his
Yep.
phone number, it has joining date, it has date of birth. Oh, so here when it comes to date of birth is a weak attribute. How? Let me show you. Because you cannot calculate date of birth of an employee till the time you do not know the date of birth. Correct? So the age,
Yeah.
let's talk me about age. So when you talk about age is also an attribute. Correct?
Yeah.
So when we connect it, so let me try connecting that. So arrow is not matter. We do not need any arrows pointing. Just we need a connection between the attribute and the entity. Okay, that's fine. Hello.
Yeah. Listening.
Okay. So here we have age. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a weak attribute, or we can how it is a weak attribute. Any guesses?
Because we can't. Yeah. We can't determine. It depends on something else.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends upon your date of birth. So we need a date of birth. Only then we can guess the age. So there should be a date of birth attribute available with us. Correct?
Yeah.
Then only we can derive.
Mm.
Okay. So this is
Mm-hmm.
how we have defined an employee entity having different attributes. So when we talk about a strong attribute, it is your ID. When you talk about normal attributes, it is name, it is address. Address is a multi-valued attribute. It could be a single line address itself, but just to show you what a multi-valued attribute could be, I have just added address line 1, address line 2, state, zip, postal code. You can create many of them. Okay. When if you talk about phone number, it could be a multi-valued because a employee or a person could have multiple phone numbers. Correct.
Yeah.
So that will also be a multi-valued attribute. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have covered the key attribute, that is primary key. We have attribute. Okay. So when you talk about this age, this is a derived attribute. Okay. Because this needs to be derived on the basis of your date of birth.
Yeah.
Okay. Weak, not it is not weak, derived. Okay.
Derived.
Yeah. Because it is derived depending upon your date of birth.
Data.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is your basic entity and its attribute. Okay, so let's come to the productivity again. Okay, so so this is was entity. Now we will see what the relationship is. Okay, so let's remove everything from here. I hope you are pretty clear with. Let's draw another thing. Draw a line.
Mm-hmm.
Just remove it. Okay, I have removed everything. So we will see what a relationship is. So we have. Let's talk about we have employee. It could have multiple attributes. I'm not adding the attributes here, okay, but it could have multiple attributes. Okay, so it belongs to a particular department, correct?
Yeah.
So for me the employee is an attribute entity and the department is an entity, correct?
Yeah.
So let's make it. And you understand that an employee would be part of a department or an employee belongs to the department. So what we can do is, here the relationship is represented by a diamond shape. Okay, what we can say is employee belongs to department.
Yeah.
Let's try to add them. Let me add more shapes. Do we have single line? Do we have? Okay, just take the simple one. Okay, employee belongs to department. Okay,
Yeah.
correct. So this is my basic relation, that my employee belongs to a department. So now we have to see, because there are three kind of relationship available. Okay, one is one to one, another one is
Yeah.
one to many, and another one is many to many. So I will
Yeah.
try to cover everything here itself. Okay, so when we talk about employee, so a single employee could be the part of multiple departments, correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, and a single department, yeah, a single department could have multiple employees, correct? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, so it is business needs. Okay, that what would be my relationship? Here, this is the most generic example that we understand, because an employee could be part of a department, an employee could be
Yeah.
part of multiple departments, and in a single department there could be multiple employees, correct? So
Yeah.
what you depict from this, is it what kind of relationship?
One to many.
Is it?
Many. Many to many, actually. Many departments could have many employees. Many employees could be part of many departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a business need. Like here, this is the most generic example. So we have to understand what we're looking for. When we talk about most basic one-to-one relationship, let's talk about that. It could be like we have a wife and husband relationships. Okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so this could be a simplest a one-to-one relationship. Correct.
Yeah.
So because the employee and department is a bit confusing when we talk about one-to-one, because that could be the many to many. Okay. So wife married. Okay. This is our relation. We can name our relations. Okay. So we can make one. Here we have also one. Does that make sense? This is the most common one-to-one relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Why disconnected? Okay. So we have seen that this is one-to-one relationship. This could be employee department, could be one to many or many to many. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about employee and department tables now. Let's remove this. Okay. So let's try to put some attribute about employee and some attribute about a department. Let's take example. Let's talk about okay. So I will talk first about one-to-many relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are considering that a single employee could be part of multiple department. Okay. Because our business
Yeah.
need is like that, that our one employee could be part of multiple department. That is another thing, that a department could have multiple uh, counterparts as well. But this is the most basic thing, that a single employee is part of multiple departments. Okay. So we'll see how we can design the tables for that, depending upon our relationship and the ER diagrams. Okay, let's drag down. Okay, okay, I see. Okay, so we have two things. And for employee, I have, let's talk about name and take joining date. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So for employee, I have joining date and name, and for department, I have something else like my department name. Okay. Let's take a single value over there. Okay, so yeah, where we was, yeah, one-to-many relationship. Let's talk about this. So we have one employee that could belongs to multiple department. Okay, so here let's talk about one more field that an employee will have the ID field, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that would be your strong attribute. So you can make it as
Mm-hmm.
Control U, the underlined one.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm also using this tool for the first time. I usually use the dia, so you can download the dia tool. That is pretty quicker and very good to use
Okay.
to create this kind of diagram. I thought it is online free tool. Try to use it. Okay. So here we have created the ID. So in the department, I would also have an ID field, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm explaining in this because you will be able to understand how we can create the databases using this. So this is a layman language terminology that my employee could belong to multiple department and multiple department could have multiple employees. So this kind of relationship we have to understand as a layman or as a business user. Then we can create the entity relationship diagrams, correct? So once your entity
Yeah.
relationship diagram is with you, you can decide what table I would have and what kind of fields there would be over there and what kind of relationship I need to manage inside that. So when you talk about relationship, it's kind of foreign key relationship, correct?